Hi, what's up guys, and welcome back to the next video. I hope you're all doing well, and we're beginning the second part of the story I started yesterday, right? So, let's begin. Thomas McQuaid, scenting an opportunity, darted from his place among the precious gods. In 30 seconds, he had caught the rolling tire, swung it over, swung it over his shoulder, and was trotting smartly after the car. On both sides of the avenue, people were shouting, whistling, and waving canes at the red car, Enterpri- pointing to the enterprising Thomas coming up with the lost tire. $1, Thomas had estimated, was the smallest garden 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 that so grand an automobilist could offer for the service he had rendered and save his pride. 2 blocks away, the car had stopped. There was a little brown, muffled chauffeur, 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 chauffeur driving, and an imposing gentleman wearing a magnificent sealskin coat and a silk hat on a rear seat. Thomas proffered, proffered, proffered the captured tire with his best ex-coachman, meant to be suggestive to the extent of a silver coin or two and receptive up to higher denominations. But the look was not so constrite, constrite. The seal-skinning gentleman received the tire, placed it inside the car, gazed intently, intently at the ex-coachman and muttered to himself instructional words. Strange, strange, said he. Once or twice even I, myself, have fancied, fancy, fanced, that the, fanced, fanced, that the Chaldean Cherscope has arrived. Could it be possible? Then the addressed less mysterious words to the waiting and hopeful Thomas. Sir, I thank you for your kind rescue of my tire. And I would ask you, if I may, a question. Do you know the family of one Smithers, living in Washington Square North? Oughtn't, oughtn't I too? Replied Thomas. I live there. Wish I did yet. The sealskin gentleman opened the door of the car. 7, please, he said. You have been expected. Miss, sorry, Thomas McQuaid obeyed, obeyed, with surprise but without hesitation. A seat in the motor car seemed better than standing room in the bed line. But after the lap robe had been tucked about him, and the auto had sped on its course, the peculiarity of the invitation lingered in his mind. Maybe the guy hasn't got any chance, was his diagnosis. Lots of these well rounders don't lug about any ready money. Gas he'll dump me Gas he'll dump me out when he gets to some joint where he can get cash in his mug. Anyhow, it's a cinch that I've got that open air bad conversation bit to a finish. Submerged in his great corn coat, great submerged, submerged in his great coat, the mysterious automobilist seemed himself to marvel at the surprises of life. Wonderful, amazing, strange, he repeated to himself constantly. When the car had well entered the crosstown 70s, it swung easily a half block and stopped before a row of high stooped brownstone front houses. Be kind enough to enter my house with me, said the seal-skinned gentleman when they had alight, alighted, alighted. He's going to dig up, sure, reflected Thomas, following him inside. There was a dim light in the hall. His host conducted him through a door to the left, closing it after him and leaving them in the absolute darkness. Suddenly, a luminous globe, strangely decorated, shone faintly, shone, in the center of an immense room that seemed to Thomas more splendidly appointed that any he had ever seen to the stage or read of in fairy stories. The walls were hidden by gorgeous red hangings, em- embroidered, 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 guys, was fantastic with fantastic gold figures. At the rear end of the room were draped porti porteras, draped porteras of dual gold spangled, spange, spanglet, spanglet, with silver crescents, 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 and stars. The furniture was of the cost costliest and rapid styles. The coachman's feet sank into rugs and fleecy, and deep as snowdrifts. There were 3 or 4 oddly shaped stands or tables covered with black velvet drapery. Thomas McQuite took in the splendors, splendors of these palatial, Ponytail. Apartment with one eye. With the other, he looked for his imposing conductor. To find imposing conductor. To find that he had disappeared. But gee, muttered Thomas, this listens like a spook shop. Shouldn't wonder if it ain't one of these Moravian Nights adventures that you read about. Wonder what became of the furry guy. Suddenly, a stuffed owl that stood on the ebony perch near the illuminated globe slowly raised his wings and emitted from his eyes a brilliant electric glow. With a fright born imprecation, fright born, a fright bro born imprecation. Remember this, guys. Thomas forgot the word seized, a bronze statuette of Hebe from a cabinet nearby and hurled it with all his might at the terrifying and impossible fowl. fowl. The owl and his perch went over with a crash. With the sound, there was a click, and the room was flooded with light from a dozen frosted globes along the walls and ceiling. The gold porters parted and closed, and the mysterious automobilist entered the room. He was tall and wore evening dress of perfect cut and accurate taste. A Van Dyke beard of glossy golden brown, rather long and wavy hair, smoothly parted and large, magnetic, orientally, orientally, orientally occult eyes, gave him a most impressive and striking appearance, if you can conceive, conceive. A Russian Grand Duke, Duke, in a Raja's throne room advancing to greet a visiting emperor, you will gather something of the majesty of his manner. But Thomas McQuaid was too near his deities to be mindful of his P.S. and Q.S. Peace and quiz. When he viewed this silken, polished, and somewhat terrifying host, he thought waggily, waggily of dentists. Say, doc, said his resentfully. That's a hot bird you keep on tap. I hope I didn't break anything, but I've nearly got the Willy Wallace, Wallace, Willy Wallace, Willy Wallace. What is that? And when he threw him 32 candle power lamps on his on me, I took a snapshot and at him with that little brass flattering girl that stood on the sideboard. That is merely a mechanical toy, said the gentleman with a wave of his hand. May I ask you to be seated while I explain why I brought you to my house? Perhaps you would not understand nor be in sympathy with the psychological prompting that caused me to do so. So I will come to the point at once by venturing venturing to refer to your admission that you know the one Smurfy family of Washington Square North. Any silver missing? Asked Thomas tartly. Tartly. Any jewelry displeased? Of course, I know them. Any of the old lady's sunshades disappeared? Well, I know them. And then what? The grand, the grand duke Robert. Robert, his white hands together softly. Robert. Robert. Wonderful, he murmured. Wonderful. Shall I come to believe in the Chaldean horoscope myself? Let me assure you, he continued, that there is nothing for you to fear. Instead, I think I can promise you that very good fortune awaits you. We will see.